Okay, so the last video for week 2 lesson will be looking at how to create the detail. So we've got the nice front and the back of the skirt. So let's start by creating a new artboard to work on. So clicking on your artboard tool, go up to your artboards, add new artboard, and just click wherever you want that to be. So first thing I'm going to do, I took a photo of the skirt, the detail. So I'm just going to bring that photo onto the artboard. That's quite big at the moment, so I'm just going to reduce that. Just going to bring that onto the artboard. And if you remember the example I shared with you, it was masked in a nice circle. It just makes that easier to look at the detail. So selecting the ellipse tool, I'm just going to draw a nice big ellipse around there. If you want to select the stroke tool and colour the stroke, you can, just so you can see where that's going to be masked. So then you can just shift that around until that's in the right spot. Maybe somewhere around there. So with this, the circle on top and the picture underneath, just select both of those, go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and then we have a nice detail of the skirt zip that's open. So I'm actually going to use this to trace essentially. So just make sure that's big enough on your page so you can start tracing with some nice accurate detail. So I'm going to just reduce the opacity of that. So just with that picture selected, go to your opacity, which you can find in the top bar here, and maybe just knock it down to 60%, and that's just going to give me a nice base to sketch upon. With that selected, press Object, Lock Selection, or you can press a Command 2, and that's just going to lock that so I don't accidentally move that. So with this selected, with this placed on the artboard, the first thing I'm going to do is just take the zip that we made for the front of the skirt, just click on that, and Option and drag just to duplicate that, or you can cut and copy that, Command C, Command V. So we have that, and let's just enlarge that. So we need to bring this to front. So if you go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, so we haven't brought that to front, so there must be something wrong with the layers. So let's just bring up our Layers panel. Skirts there. If we open Skirt, okay, so we can see that that is at the very bottom. So one way you can move that is just to shift that layer up. And that will bring that on top. So get your zip on top. Just zoom out a little bit. And just roughly enlarge it, so pressing your Shift and dragging that. Let's just get that zip roughly the right size, and use your Rotate tool just so it's roughly in the place that we want it. There are some details on this skirt that you may or may not want to copy exactly. I'm not going to do this curve on the zip here. I'm just going to leave that side of the zip straight, just for for ease of drawing this illustration. So that's roughly in the place that I want it. So we have a closed zip here. What we actually want is a zip that's open and one side is folding out. So let's roughly get that into place. So what we want to do is ungroup this. Remember in the last exercise we grouped the zip. So if you go to Object, Ungroup, that will just allow you to adjust the individual elements. So we'll notice the zip is almost down to the bottom. So that's the first thing we can do. Your zip, the head should still be grouped. So we can just simply select that and just drag that down towards the bottom. So the other thing going on here is when a zip's open, we've only got half of the backing. So let's just start to remove some of the backing just so we're left with just half, supporting half the zip teeth. So let's remove some of these points. So Direct Select tool, we can select the Delete Anchor Point tool, and let's just start deleting some of those. You don't want to delete this last one because you're not going to have any backing left. So that last point, the Direct Select tool, and just drag that until it's about halfway on the zip. Okay, so we've got half the backing. So what we want to do now is create this second half of the backing that is a bit more curved. And you're probably going to need to do this in two parts. You've got one little part here, then you've got that second part coming out here. So selecting your pen tool, let's start with this bottom portion here. So one click there, another click, that's going to lock into the center, and come up to probably about here, and click and drag because you've got a curve coming out here. Click and drag here. One click on the end, and another click on the end here. If ever you want to see the shape that you're drawing, you can always remove the fill and just add a bright color for the stroke, just so you can see the shape that you are drawing. Alright, so that looks about right. So we've got our first half of the shape. Let's just recolor that black. Also what you want to do is just select that zip. So at the moment that's hidden behind that second piece of black. So select the zip, go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, and that's just going to bring it to the front of the zip. But actually now you find that the black is on top of the zip teeth. So let's select that black piece of backing, Object, Arrange, Center Back. So now that's gone too far back. Again, you can go to your layers, and you can just drag that layer up. There we go, just so it's behind the teeth. Okay, that's the first bit of backing. So the next one we want to create is this other curved piece over here. So just using your pen tool, And with what we've learned in the previous lessons, just click and drag. Just until you have a nice shape. And then, of course, you can always go back and adjust that slightly. Okay, so there we have the second piece of backing. So now what we want to do is we want to add the teeth over in this section here. But what we want to do first is just delete the pieces that we don't want for this side of the zip. So we're going to take away all this row of teeth here. So we just select those and delete, select, delete, select, delete. An easy way of doing it, you've got this tool up here which is called the lasso tool. So if you click on the lasso tool, you can actually just select, you can drag that around objects, multiple objects. Like this. And that will select whatever you've lassoed, and you can just delete those. When you get close to other objects, you might just want to do those individually. So we can select, or select and shift, and you can select multiple objects. Right, so there we have half the zip. We just need to add teeth to this side. So what you need to do now is to highlight one of these teeth, and we just want to copy that, so you can either Command C, Command V, or click on one of the teeth, Option, drag out, and that will just give us a duplicate of one of those teeth. And now what we want to do, let's just give these a colourful stroke and remove the black, just so we can see where the teeth need to go. And I'm going to start up with this end. And this is really just about slowly moving those into place. There we've got our biggest stopper at the end, so you can manipulate the tooth for that. And it's just about just slowly moving those into place. And using your scale tool, using your rotate tool, just to get those all sitting nicely along there.